Welcome to this episode of Bounded in a Nutshell. Remember to take a moment to click on the link below to donate to a very special organization. Figure Skating in Harlem is the first organization in the world to combine the power of education with the grace and discipline of figure skating. It is dedicated to developing confidence, leadership, and academic achievement in young girls from low-income backgrounds. The numerous stories of success from its alumni owe a great deal to the unique blend of mentoring and self-expression that is championed by FSH. Remember, no donation is too small or too large to keep the dream alive for these exceptional young girls. Thank you very much. Enjoy the show.
Just wanted to welcome everybody and thank you for doing this with us and say you are among friends. This is not a, it's not a test. It's not a judgment. It's all about let's play, let's work, right?
Are there five people, or there are 5 squares? Is that right?
We're seeing 5. Are there more beyond that?
There are more beyond that. There's plenty. There's plenty more beyond that.
Whoever all is looking, welcome, and please know that you are in friendly territory. We're really loving to see what you have to offer and anxious to have a conversation. But it's not an audition.
That's a good point to make. Okay, so the order of events today will be Alice, Ishan, Kelly, Dylan, Aaron, Anna, Susan, Edward. Okay, so we can kick off with Alice.
Hi.
Hi,
Hey,
Alice.
Alice.
Hey, I'm Alice. Hello. I didn't know I was gonna be first. This is exciting.
Yeah.
Great. So I'm in New York City right now, sheltering my little Astoria apartment with my fiance. And I brought in, after we did the Q&A the other day, I brought in Lady Macbeth because it's one that I've been scared to work on, but am excited to start. So this is fresh. I learned this fresh. This is the unsex me here speech. So this is right out, this is like the first scene that we've met her. She's received word from Macbeth about the witches and their prophecies. And then like 2 seconds ago, the messenger came in and said, actually, he's coming right now with the king.
May I ask one question technically, because we're just starting, Michelle? Are we then going to have just her in the center so we can really see her and then come back to this, or what's?
So Jay, if you want to change your settings to speaker view, then it'll just show her.
Okay, that's what we're doing.
Okay.
Good.
And
Okay,
then
that's
we
what I
can-
just did.
Yeah.
Great, thank
Great.
you.
Yep.
Okay.
Fantastic. Any other information that I should share, or shall I go?
No, we know this. We know this piece very well. We know this play very well.
Great.
And, it's good to have a sense of it and background. I don't know if you heard, but we did a workshop of it. The
Right,
two,
which is why I brought it in. Yeah.
so it just gives us familiarity. That's all. But
Fantastic.
wonderful. Enjoy. Do
Great.
what
Thanks
you
so
do and
much,
let's
guys.
talk.
All right. The raven himself is hoarse, that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan. Under my battlements come, you spirits, that tend on mortal thoughts, unsex me here, and fill me from the crown to the toe, top full of direst cruelty. Make thick my blood, stop up the access and passage to remorse, that no compunctious visitings of nature shake my fell purpose, nor keep peace between the effect and it. Come to my woman's breasts, and take my milk for gall, you murdering ministers, wherever in your sightless substances you wait on nature's mischief. Come, thick night, and pall thee in the dunnest smoke of hell. But my keen knife see not the wound it makes, nor heaven peep through the blanket of the dark to cry, hold, hold.
Good.
Lovely.
Thank
I
you.
would first off
Mhm.
say you speak beautifully.
Thank you.
So it's very clear and it's very connected. But I'm going to turn this over to Maryann, who knows this better and has wrestled with the same language. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Really nice. And of course, from the Q&A the other day, what I was talking about, of course, from my point of view of my age, of saying that I finally understood her. You, of course, are not in that position. But just watching you do that when you started, and I think it would be really interesting to start off. What's the first line?
The raven himself is hoarse that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements.
Okay. So what if that's a surprise to you? That
Right.
it's not, that this speech, the entire speech, all the buildup, each new thing you add to it. If you've read the letter, it's news. You did not know any of this that he's revealed to you in this letter. And I'm coming home, and you know, all like what? Then the
And totally unexpected.
Unexpected.
You've never received a letter like this ever.
And then
from
the
him
little
before.
page comes in and says the king's coming. It's like what? On top of that, suddenly the gears. It's not something. If you approach it as something you'd not. This was not something you had planned.
No.
Suddenly it's presented to you. So each step is almost, without overstating it, it's somewhat terrifying that you take one step in. You're not dead. You're not struck dead.
Yeah.
Another step in, you take another, and each one you're getting in deeper and deeper until, and the quietness of the end of like, what have I just done, is kind of beautiful. But it just as an experiment, just to see, and slow. You don't have to do it quickly. It's each thing is a discovery. This is an experiment. This is playing.
It's actually reflective.
Yeah.
It's also reflective of Macbeth later. I am in blood stepped in so deep that, you know, that once you're in a certain amount, you might as well keep going, because to turn around is as far and as hard as it is to go forward. But you're only discovering that by you're going the steps that you're going, imagining, and now you're waist deep or chest deep into these feelings, these thoughts, these.
But
everything.
if you go into it as though this is something that is just happening now to you, these choices, these decisions, my dear partner in greatness is a profound connection and statement from him. This guy who's winning the battles, who's out there, who's being lauded by the king, who's being, carried on people's shoulders, and you're wandering through your castle, whatever house, alone, and as a woman. And how do you be? How do you become, exist? And I think that an opportunity is presented to you. So if you just jump in and just try it that way, and
Sure.
do it, go slowly. You don't have to.
Can I add one thing to what Maryann is saying, Alice? In general, it's clear from how you started the speech that you knew where you're going to end up, and you absolutely don't know, like Maryann and Jersey, you don't know where you're going to end up. It is quite an incredible observation to say the sound of the crow is almost like it's hoarse. I mean, that's quite an incredible thought to have that isn't connected to unsex me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Great, all right.
Each step, and it's somewhat terrifying and exhilarating, but terrifying.
Okay. Raven himself is hoarse that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements. Come, you spirits that tend on mortal thoughts, unsex me here, and fill me from the crown to the toe, top full of direst cruelty. Make thick my blood. Stop up the axis and passage to remorse, that no compunctious visitings of nature shake my fell purpose, nor keep peace between the effect and it. Come to my woman's breasts, and take my milk for gall, you murdering ministers. You murdering ministers, wherever in your sightless substances you wait on nature's mischief, come thick night, and pall thee in the dunnest smoke of hell, that my keen knife see not the wound it makes, nor heaven peep through the blanket of the dark, to cry, hold, hold.
Can you try one thing for me? Go
Yeah.
straight back to the beginning, put ideas together, and one step at a time. In other words, the raven is horse that cries under my battlements is one
Right.
thought. It's one thought, right?
Okay.
You get to the you get to the door, you hear this sound, you go, oh fuck. What was that? Right? It's like everything is off kilter. And step by step, say, what if this? What if I try that? What if I do, so that each thought, as Maryann was saying before, each thought is occurring.
Experiment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Don't declare each thought as though you'd thought it out and now I'll drag them out. Each thought is new. Each thought is fresh.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's
I
just
think so.
give yourself the time to, one thing, my God. All right, let's try this. Let's try, I know, oh my God, am I going, okay, let's try this.
Okay.
Let's try this. Let's try this.
Well, it's the daring and the risk that
You don't know where it's
the
going.
The first statement is about, okay, that he's coming.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Yeah.
The sound, it's a process within you of I think you're walking into dangerous territory,
Mhm.
and you don't know how dangerous it is.
Okay.
And take your time. It's not a performance right now. This is work. And so just between each side, keep the thoughts together, the first thought, but get to the next one.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But get right back to it. Because I know it's funny when you've just learned something, especially you make an adjustment like that. And I know your memory goes right out the door. I know that so well, even if it's something, because suddenly everything is, because they're connected with new
things. Yeah.
But discover that. Don't be afraid of that. If it takes you time, take the time, right?
Yeah.
And really take a couple of breaths and go in, but put your ideas together.
Okay. The raven himself is horse that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements. Come, ye spirits that tend on mortal thoughts, unsex me here, and fill me from the crown to the toe, top full of direst cruelty. Big thick my blood, stop up the access and passage to remorse, that no compunctious visitings of nature shake my fell purpose, nor keep peace between the effect and it. Come to my woman's breasts and take my milk for gall, you murdering ministers. Wherever in your sightless substances you wait on nature's mischief, come thick night, and pall thee in the dunnest smoke of hell, that my keen knife see not the wound it makes, nor heaven peep through the blanket of the dark to cry, hold, hold.
How does that feel? Are you finding your way in?
I think so. I think I'm having trouble putting all the notes together.
Yeah, of course.
Slowing down and then also sort of like risking is
by pouring notes on people too. Because I noted this time, like certain, like the word cruelty sort of got absorbed in with the thought. Fine, but they're valuable, like cruelty. It's a new thought for you, or
murdering ministers is a discovery. It's a discovery. It's like, oh my God, I've opened up the door to, oh my God, who am I opening this door to? It's just, it doesn't mean you stop and declare that but that you'll hear it in your head going, what am I doing? What am I doing? I mean,
Yeah.
somebody says there's a murderer at the door, and you go, what? What? Even the thought that there would be, wait, and you hide in the bathroom and you go, okay, what do I do? What do I do? All right, you want to have a weapon, want to have something in case he comes in. Is it he? Is it she? Why are they doing this? All that, you know what I mean? It's your mind is racing.
The racing of it, yeah.
To keep up with this totally unexpected situation, and then you come up with your own plan. Okay, I know what I'm going to do. I have a baseball bat, and I throw this blanket over whoever it is. I'm going to be okay, but I have to be able to do it. I have to be ready. I have to be standing here. And the ideas start to pour.
And you're asking, make me strong.
Make me strong because I can.
So I can do this.
So I can do this. But I'm gonna take control of this. Because God damn it, no one's gonna stop me. And where, you know.
Yeah.
You see what you're made of, but it's all coming out of your response to terror. You know, honey, I've just won the Academy Awards and the whole after party is coming over. We'll be there in 10 minutes. Whoa, you know, we're not even in Los Angeles. What are you talking about? You know, except that's a little less dangerous.
But I your approach is, I enjoy, it's refreshing because your approach has a delicacy to it in a strange way, but underneath it is the strength. But someone who just goes into something and discovers a part of herself that maybe she didn't know before.
Yeah.
Complexity of that, of I want, as opposed to I've always wanted. It's I can't lose. And I do like seeing the progression of someone who starts off somewhat soft-spoken to this steel, because you have a play in which to show everything.
All the colors, yeah.
You don't have to show everything in the first meeting with her, you know, of who she is. It's
right.
The seeds of all these things.
Right.
You know.
That was, sorry, go on, Alice. Go on.
I think where I was coming into, because after the Q&A, like some of the things you were saying were things that I've been interested in but afraid to tackle with Lady Anne, which is why this truly is the first time I've looked at it.
Yeah, it's congratulations.
Yeah, it's great. It's brave.
So
Thank you.
It's wonderful.
Like finally almost old enough to play her.
Almost.
I think where I've been getting caught up is the circumstances of like the loss of the child and what brings her to this place of
the loss of the child is in your background. It just everybody gets caught up in doing that in research, which is great, and it informs things, but it's not playable from the top. It's almost more playable when the two of you face each other for the first time and you're just looking and nothing is said. And it's it just lives between you.
And there is a difference perhaps between your reaction to the loss of a child at your age and my reaction to the loss of a child at my age. That, you know, perhaps there is a future for you. For me, there'd be no more children. You know, that is taken in a little bit of, that colors things for your own interpretation.
Right. I would greatly recommend to you, I'm sure you can get it through Amazon or something. Harriet Walter wrote a book about her work on this. Okay. She's one of the great actresses of our time, I think, and she's brilliant with Shakespeare and totally unpretentious. I've worked with her and I adore her, but she just basically walks through her research and her thinking process on that.
Right.
And I saw her play it with Anthony Scher, one of the great productions of that ever. Gregory Doran directed. But she deals with the child and she deals with all of those things and those questions. And it's not that her thoughts are right or what you should go for, but it's a wonderful way to see how somebody who instinctually asks good questions and knows how to work step by step has gone after this role. I think you'd be very taken with it. So Harry,
I'm so sorry to interrupt. We have to keep moving. That was, I love it. It's going to be such a rich, well done, Alice. Really
Thank
good
you.
one.
Thank you so much.
Genuinely, you should stick to this and keep working on that. It was, I agree with Maryann, the way you started it often people start this as if they've watched the whole library of how to play the unsex me scene, but
Yeah.
you're actually making it very personal, which is always a great start with this material. Great work. Okay, so
Thank you.
do we have Ishan or Kelly? Who's next?
I just got here, so.
Oh, Kelly, why don't you give you a moment?
Go
So
for
why
it.
don't we go with Kelly, then you can go after Kelly, Ishan. Does
Sure,
that sound
okay,
okay?
cool.
Kelly, you good to go?
I'm good to go.
Excellent.
Here.
Hi, Kelly.
How are you?
Hi, I'm Kelly. I'm calling you from Harlem, but I'm originally from Worcester, Massachusetts.
Oh, wow. Hi,
Nice.
neighbor.
Hey, neighbor, how's it going?
A neighbor here and a neighbor there.
Amazing. I'm so excited. Thank you for sharing your time with us today. I'm going to be doing Julia from Two Gentlemen of Verona,
Right?
Act 4, Scene 4, later in the play. She's followed Proteus, and she just was asked by Proteus to give her ring and to Sylvia and get Sylvia's picture. And this monologue comes right after she gets the picture from Sylvia.
And you've done this for a while. You've done this before.
I've worked on it in classes.
Okay.
Not in a production, but yeah.
Good, but just so it's not, Alice was doing something that was completely fresh to her, which is great too. There's no one way is right. It's just good for us to know that you're in a later step with the same material.
Yes, I've been with Julia a long time.
Right, good.
And I have are you on a laptop? Oh, no,
I
no,
am
no.
on a
It's fine now. No, if you're going to be there, it's fine because your head.
There, we just want to see, yeah.
Come a little closer, though.
A little closer,
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
good,
That's
right
good.
there.
Yeah.
Right.
And we get a great shot of you. Good.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Enjoy yourself.
And she shall thank you for it if e'er you know her. A virtuous gentlewoman, mild and beautiful. I hope my master's suit will be but cold, since she respects my mistress' love so much. Alas, how love can trifle with itself. Here is her picture. Let me see, I think if I had such attire, this face of mine were full as lovely as is this of hers. And yet the painter flattered her a little, unless I flatter with myself too much. Her hair is yellow, mine is perfect auburn. If that be all the difference in his love, I'll get me such a colored periwig. Her eyes are gray as glass, and so are mine. Aye, but her forehead's low, and mine's as high. What should it be that he respects in her, but I can make respective in myself if this fond love were not a blinded god? Come, shadow, come, and take this shadow up, for 'tis thy rival. Woe, thou senseless form! Thou shalt be worshipped, kissed, loved, and adored. And were there sense in his idolatry, my substance should be statue in thy stead. I'll use thee kindly for thy mistress' sake that used me so, or else, by Jove, I vow, I should have scratched out your unseeing eyes to make my master out of love with thee.
Great.
Very
Great.
charming.
I never would have thought that there was a parallel between those two speeches. Come murdering ministers. I mean, it's you're calling someone else to help you in that. That's Shakespeare saying, looking within and without. Very interesting.
Very charming. You're lovely. And I noted that your hair's auburn. I went, oh, she dyed her hair just for this character. You with your auburn hair there.
I actually edited it a little bit. It's usually her hair is auburn, mine is perfect yellow, so I just switched it because the verse.
I thought, wow, that's perfect.
You also have a lovely voice, clear. I'm saying this up front because these things are really important. You sound very clear. You're well spoken. Everything is easy to understand. And in some cases, as you get clearer, you can trust that you can do less and we will hear every element. We'll hear more details by you not having to hit every element of it, which is the trust that comes with working on something.
And also that the question of how much of this has the character thought of before? And is this a new thing with looking at the letter, looking at the portrait and these thoughts? These are coming at the moment, correct? These are not thoughts that you had, and even there's a question, I can't remember what the line was. I put it in the back of my head to remember, but about why, what does she have that I don't have, in essence, along that, that's the moment of all these thoughts going through. That's the purest sort of simple expression of what this is about. You're looking at it, oh yeah, she's pretty, she's blonde hair, whatever it is, and well, her forehead's low, mine's high, and all those things. The bottom line is, and what is the exact line?
What should it be that he respects in her, but I can make respective in myself if this fond love were not a blind?
That's sort of,
which was beautifully clear.
Yeah,
too.
But
beautifully clear in the way you said it.
But I think because when things ride all together, and you can be following the rhythm and the music and stuff, but sometimes the human of it, of just, ugh, why can't he love me, is what is coming out. And you had not intended to say, this was not, I'm going to go do the speech in which I compare myself to the portrait and I reveal all the things I'm feeling, but why can't he love me? It comes out at the moment. Right. And I think that if you could do it, if you could just, and not slowing down, not, but it's even just, sometimes it's like, it's a breath, it's a little, it's a gump of before it comes out. It just, and it pours out, and that, it feels to me like that's what that's about.
Can I jump in with that? I mean, Kelly, could you say the line again that Maryann asked you to say, but the first part of it, the question part? What should it be that he respects in her? Stop. What should it be that he respects in her? Okay, that's a line. What should it be that, and that is the main, but you ran it through what it should be that he respects in her, and I know logically to you, it sounds like, but if it's coming to you in the moment, the first thing you say is, what does she have that I don't have? That's how, it's not just, it's not a framed thought. What does she have that I don't have that I can't, but it's actually, what the hell does she have that I don't have? I mean, I could, you know what I mean? So try in that, when you, as much as you can, to use those lines. And like Maryann said, that breath is what gets you to the other part, and we will follow it clearer, and it will also naturally give the main point of that thought its impact. Does that make sense? Which is like, what does she have that I don't have, right? So try to really, I know it seems like the more familiar you are with speech, the more naturally you should run on it actually is the opposite. The more familiar you are, the more you start to embrace the thoughts as they come. And usually they're within those line structures, right? You're squinting your eye because you know this and you know you've been bad. No, I'm joking. You know this and you know like you ran it through. So just try finding those line endings again and using the breath. It'll help you breathe. Hamish said something wonderful yesterday. I don't know if you watched, but he said the lungs are far more intelligent than the brain in whatever. So use the breath, okay? Great.
Totally.
Kelly, I have one thing, small technical stuff to help you too. Mm-hmm. There's a line early on when you're putting that, you're reaching for the picture. Mm-hmm. You said, I hope da. It's I hope that. I lost hope. And when you compared your foreheads, it's full as well as something, I full as well have, my something is full as long as hers. It's a thought. There were a couple of phrases where they just weren't helping you with the logic that we're hearing.
Okay.
You understand them, there's no question. But in terms of us hearing it, my forehead is full as well as nice as hers.
And the new ideas that move you forward, that come to you of the thoughts that move you ahead, as opposed to a beautiful speech and charmingly spoken, but the human, because it is a charming speech, but underneath it, in that center part where that expression of that, it's also it's unrequited love, and then which is painful.
And the final thing is, why do you turn to us to start saying this? What are you so full of? What feeling are you so full of that you take in and you turn and go, I got to reason this out, or I got to figure this out, or I'm lost here. I don't get what is going on, right? Whatever that, but make that strong for yourself. Breathe in and just turn and go, I have to talk about this. I have to work this out, right?
Totally.
And let that get you started. I'm getting out of this now. We're gonna let you work.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yes.
Let me just get my. And she shall thank you for it if e'er you know her. A virtuous gentlewoman, mild and beautiful. I hope my master suit will be but cold, since she respects my mistress love so much. Alas, how love can trifle with itself. Here is her picture. Let me see, I think if I had such attire, this face of mine were full as lovely as is this of hers. And yet the painter flattered her a little, unless I flatter with myself too much.
Sorry, I'm going to ask you to do one thing.
Yeah.
You say a line to someone else who does it, right? Someone else brings you something in the very beginning?
Yeah, the servant.
Sylvia has just given me money.
Give it. Line to them and then straight to us. What is going on? What is going on? And I hope as well, wait, let me see. Let me look at this. What the, okay, that's all. So the clean thoughts. I think that'll help you on start. But the start is already full, so good.
I have one little question. Have you looked at the picture before?
No, not seriously.
You have not looked at the picture before, so this is, okay. That's a see. That's
So
a
see it
hint
fresh
also.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Sorry.
It's okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
And she shall thank you for it if e'er you know her. A virtuous gentlewoman, mild and beautiful. I hope my master's suit will be but cold, since she respects my mistress love so much. Alas, how love can trifle with itself. Here is her picture. Let me see. I think if I had such attire, this face of mine were full as lovely as is this of hers. And yet the painter flattered her a little, unless I flatter with myself too much. Her hair is yellow, mine is perfect auburn. If that be all the difference in his love, I'll get me such a colored periwig. Her eyes are gray as glass, and so are mine. Aye, but her forehead's low, and mine's as high. What should it be that he respects in her? But I can make respective in myself, if this fond love were not a blinded god. Come, shadow, come, and take this shadow up, for 'tis thy rival. Oh, thou senseless form, thou shalt be worshipped, kissed, loved, and adored. And were there sense in his idolatry, my substance should be statue in thy stead. I'll use thee kindly for thy mistress' sake that used me so, or else by Jove, I vow, I should have scratched out your unseeing eyes to make my master out of love with thee.
Thank you.
I think I see so much change in it. I still think you can be fully together in the beginning. You turn to us and talk to us as though we were the same servant. In other words, they're gone. It's just us. Oh my God, this guy's, oh, what is going on? You know, it's a total change. It's now I'm alone with you, my conscience, my thoughts, my friend, my whatever we are to you, that it's like, okay, thanks, that's great. What is going on? It's crazy. All right, let me look at this picture. Well, okay, she's got blonde hair, so what? I read there. So what?
Yeah,
okay.
I think
you know what I mean?
the
Step by
playing
step.
of that you're boosting yourself up. Her eyes are, what, mirror gray, whatever. Well, mine are, that you don't make it so there can be jagged edges to it of each of it doesn't have to be all smooth, that each thing of, well, she does have that.
It's a discovery.
Well, yeah, and that
Each discovery.
and you're trying to go, well, I could be he could love me. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we don't look alike, but yay, I'm just as good as she is. And I think the fun, because it's breaking your heart. I mean, I think we have all experienced that feeling of, why doesn't he look at me?
And by the end, don't stay on the picture. You see the picture. Okay, what does she have?
Go through everything.
Okay, you see. Okay, what does she have? Okay, great. And she's going to be loved, and she's going to be this, and you're going to get that, and you're going to get this. And what about me? I don't have. That's between us. Then it's full and rich. Don't stay on the picture because we're not seeing you then. It's like a conversation being had in front of us, but not with us. So go find those things in there and go, bullshit. Okay, I know where it stands. I know where I am, and I'm going to do this.
But don't feel rushed. It's not a frenetic. Right. Well, she's like this. Well, I'm like this. Don't make it hysterical. It's that. Just could do it one more time. Of just. It's
a lot of.
From the top.
Yes, please. Is that okay, Chuck?
Do you have time?
That's great because we're going to make you guys stay till you've worked with everyone, so you can go for it.
Yeah, I think that real right at the top, the same as it was with Alice, that right at the top, you don't know where you're going. You've been given something and you're going, what? Okay, so this is where we are. What is going on?
And play with those just for the fun of it. This is fun. You see how pretty she is. That's like, oh shit, she's beautiful. Well, I mean, I have pretty hair, that like let there be, just for the fun of it. Throw yourself in. This isn't a performance.
You're beautiful. You the actress are beautiful and clear and sweet and fun. We embrace with you.
Don't think of it as a performance. Just experiment with what that feels like. It's not about, that you got it. It's okay. That was fun. Experimenting with that.
Great. Awesome. Okay. All right. And she shall thank you for it if ever you know her. A virtuous gentlewoman, mild.
I'm sorry. Turn and take us in. Breathe.
Yeah.
Don't turn and immediately talk. Let her get out of earshot and go, oh, fuck. Somebody just gave you a "you're fired" note and walk down the street. You don't turn and go, well, that's why you turn and go,
yeah.
What was that?
Yeah, she knows.
But let that break be there and you'll find yourself in a different place.
Don't be afraid. Okay. Don't be afraid of breath. All right.
And she shall thank you for it if e'er you know her. A virtuous gentlewoman, mild and beautiful. I hope my master suit will be but cold, since she respects my mistress love so much. Alas, how love can trifle with itself. Here is her picture. Let me see, I think if I had such attire, this face of mine were full as lovely as is this of hers. And yet the painter flattered her a little, unless I flatter with myself too much. Her hair is yellow, mine is perfect auburn. If that be all the difference in his love, I'll get me such a colored periwig. Her eyes are gray as glass, and so are mine. Aye, but her forehead's low, and mine's as high. What should it be that he respects in her, but I can make respective in myself, if this fond love were not a blinded god? Come, shadow, come and take this shadow up, for 'tis thy rival. Oh, thou senseless form, thou shalt be worshipped, kissed, loved, and adored. And were there sense in his idolatry, my substance should be statue in thy stead. use thee kindly for thy mistress' sake that used me so, or else by Jove, I vow. I should have scratched out your unseeing eyes to make my master out of love with thee.
Cool. Yeah, a lot of great stuff. A lot of great, one word question.
Yeah.
Mine's as high. Mine's the same height as hers. Not mine is high. Mine's, okay, so she's got a forehead. Mine's is high.
Oh, I thought
It can go, it can read either way, but that sort of thing. So she's got a low forehead. So mine's is high.
Oh, I love that.
Okay.
Yeah, I totally was playing it as like her forehead's low, mine's high.
Well, you know, I have to say, as a woman with a very high forehead, I went with your interpretation.
Yeah.
Yes, my foreheads are beautiful.
Beautiful.
All right. Okay.
Kelly,
Very
that was
wonderful.
lovely. Thank you.
Lovely work,
The
Kelly.
breath in the beginning helped hugely.
And you took the notes very beautifully. I actually think when you actually played it, there's a moment of complete victory when you see the forehead line. It's something, you know, like that's the sort of thing of playfulness with the whole thing, is that you say this and this and this and this, and you go, I think there's a big moment of victory with the whole forehead thing, with it. Whatever interpretation you take, whether it's saying mine is higher than hers, or whether, yes, we found something that's the same, like, and that will just make us burst with love for you and enjoyment. But it's all about the playfulness, you know?
And the same with the blonde and like mine. Perfect. The word perfect wasn't put there as a mistake. It's perfect auburn. You know, okay, she's blonde. I'm perfect. You know, the choices of words are so playful and wonderful.
Mine's perfect auburn. And hey, if I could just get a wig, if I wanted to.
That's the problem.
Right, exactly. There's no
Excellent.
issue.
All right, we're moving on. Jay, Maryann, stop. We're moving on. Well done,
Thank you
Kelly.
so
It was fabulous.
Beautiful.
Okay, Ishan, am I pronouncing your name right? Is he there?
He's there. I'm seeing him. Ishan.
Oh,
Yeah,
great.
it's Ishan.
Great.
It's
Hi,
Ishan.
I froze. Welcome.
Hi,
Hey,
Ishan.
how are you guys?
Good, how are you?
Good. Thank you for doing this. I'm also from Groton, Massachusetts. I was partly raised there.
Oh,
Wow.
the submarine capital of the world, right?
I'm from
Yes.
Tewksbury, Lowell. So same side of the state, actually.
Yeah.
So
Groton right up by Mystic.
So I'm doing Richard III, the opening monologue.
Excellent.
And I guess I can just start.
Go there.
Now is the winter of our discontent, turned glorious summer by the sun of York, and all the clouds that lowered upon our house in the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Now are our brows bound up with victorious wreaths, our bruised arms hung up for monuments, our stern alarms changed to merry meetings, our dreadful marches to delightful measures. Grim-visaged war hath smoothed his wrinkled front, and instead of mounting barbed steeds to fright the souls of fearful adversaries, he capers nimbly in a lady's chamber to the lascivious pleasings of a lute. But I, that am not made for sportive tricks, nor shaped to court an amorous looking-glass, I, that am rudely stamped, and want love's majesty to strut before a wanton ambling nymph, I, that am curtailed of this fair proportion, cheated of feature by dissembling nature, deformed, unfinished, sent before my time into this breathing world scarce half made up, and so lamely and unfashionable that dogs bark at me as I halt by them. Why, I, in this weak piping time of peace, have no delight to pass away the time unless to spy my shadow in the sun and descant on my own deformity. And therefore, since I cannot prove a lover to entertain these fair well-spoken days, I am determined to prove a villain and hate the idle pleasure of these days.
Terrific.
nice.
Terrific.
Thank you.
Great relaxation and breathing right through it. The first thing that hits me at the end, since I cannot be a lover, then let me be a villain. But the juxtaposition of those two thoughts is the story of your entire journey, and the triumph with Lady Anne soon to come, that I shall be a lover. I will be a villain and a lover at the same time.
But what lovely, I thought, especially you were so immediately in our room right here. It was very, very arresting. The sadness of this man was very palpable to me. You know, someone who makes a choice, someone who's discarded, someone who's pushed aside from birth, who is not accepted. And what does that? It does twist a soul. And it's kind of beautiful too. It's as with Lady M of that, okay, but she's the Lady M. And you go Richard III and go, what made him the way he was? And to have those human moments to see, it's not just starting out and going, I'm the villain, it's I'm a human being, I think is quite arresting. So.
Yeah, it's always fascinated me, the beginning of this play, because it's played wildly differently depending on the production and the actor, that some people come out and go, okay, fine, I'm here. And other people are like, all of that's happened. Listen, we're alone. Let me tell you, it's fucking hell living in this body, but I'm going to make the most of it. Which was a very personal thing to each individual in the audience. And, you know, there's no right or wrong. It's just, I have one question. Is it turned or made?
No, I always make that same mistake. I even told myself before I start, I was like, I'm going to say made.
And so, I know, it's so, and now is the Winter of Our Discontent made, yes, the word is class. Now, I've not played the role, so but have seen this many times and have always. Can
I jump in, Nation? We had when someone comes in. If you were coming into the room to do this for me, and I saw that your first take, I think, okay, he's got it. He's got his idea of it. I can work with this guy. This guy can play Richard. He understands it. So what my natural instinct would be, and what I think it should be, whenever, and this is for everyone listening, when you're working with stuff that you know and you're familiar with, when you reinvest and re-mine into it, I really want you to try it again, if possible, for us. And two things I want you to keep in mind is you don't know where this speech is going, which we've talked about. And the sadness that Maryann talks about, the pain, that the genuine, do not drop any idea, just for shits and giggles, drop any idea of this guy being a villain. Because I think that crept in a little bit. And the audiences want that, which I always feel is sad, because often when Richard does that, everyone else on stage with him looks like an idiot. And I want you to drop any idea of the villain and whatever, and see how those last lines of, if I can't be a lover, I'll be this, register for you when someone is genuinely saying that about themselves. If I'm so friggin' ugly and unloved that no one likes me and loves me, I'm gonna be a villain. I mean, just not the villain idea of, oh, that's it, I'm gonna be bad, but just imagine saying that to yourself, that I'm choosing to be this, you know what I mean? So I just want you to go back, you handle language well, you've got a great idea of the verse structure, you're comfortable with this guy. This is where I think you should start mining deeper. I always use the analogy of yoga, people that do yoga, I love yoga, but there's some people that are super flexible. So the only way a yoga practice is useful for them is to stop using just flexibility and start finding strength and whatever. Right. You know what I mean? Adjust the way you're doing. So adjust this, right? And give us that take. Just drop all sense of the villain guy and really invest in saying this, because the thing about Richard is that for all the laughs he gives the audience, there's a point this play turns right after he kills his nephews, where everyone should feel disgusted at themselves that they've been falling in love with this guy.
Mhm.
So we really need to see that ugliness. Does that make sense? So just give us a go with that, with just dropping that and falling into a guy that's been alone his whole friggin' life. Okay? All right, let's try it.
So when you say like drop the villain, it means sort of like drop the having fun with the villain part.
It's not that I haven't, there's a side, and with Shakespeare's characters, I believe, and Jay and Maryann will agree that a lot of them, they're so witty and sharp and they enjoy
Mhm.
that. I'm not saying drop that, but I'm just saying when you say things like, since I cannot prove a lover or whatever the line is, I'll be a villain. It really does mean something. It means it's not just reveling in, okay, I'm a villain. Does that make sense? So don't drop the sense of fun because he's witty and he knows it, and he knows he's smarter than everyone. So enjoy that. But we need to see it steeped in that pain, is what I'm saying.
There's a clue, Sean, a clue that I got from listening to you on this. I love dogs. A great example. And have you ever had that experience where you're hanging out with people you're really comfortable with, you love them, and they have a dog, and it's a beautiful dog, is friendly to everyone else, and you turn and you go and you put your hand down and the dog or barks or something, and you go, what? I didn't do anything. I love dogs. You know, you're thinking, I'm not doing anything. What is he smelling on me or seeing? Why does he think I'm dangerous? There is something in that when I heard you say that, but it's also that place that you go, that, you know, you retreat from the dog going, oh, okay, he just doesn't want to see, but some part of you is hurt.
Yeah.
At the same time, that's how.
And if that was every dog that you ever.
And that's how people are treating you.
Yeah.
Right? It's like something about me obviously offends people, and I don't know what it is because I'm not putting it out there, but okay, if you don't like me, I guess I'm not going to have a dog then, you know? Well, anyway, there was just a thought because I heard it from you as you did that. So.
Okay, cool. Now is the winter of our discontent turned glorious summer by the sun of York, and all the clouds that lowered upon our house in the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Now are our brows bound up with victorious wreaths, our bruised arms hung up for monuments, our stern alarms changed to merry meetings, our dreadful marches to delightful measures. Grim-visaged war hath smoothed his wrinkled front, and instead of mounting barbed steeds to fright the souls of fearful adversaries, he capers nimbly in a lady's chamber to the lascivious pleasings of a lute. But I, that am not made for sportive tricks, nor shaped to court an amorous looking-glass, I, that am rudely stamped and want love's majesty to strut before a wanton ambling nymph, I, that am curtailed of this fair proportion, cheated of feature by dissembling nature, deformed, unfinished, sent before my time into this breathing world scarce half made up, and so lamely and unfashionable that dogs bark at me as I halt by them. Why, I, in this weak piping time of peace, have no delight to pass away the time unless to spy my shadow in the sun and descant on my own deformity. And therefore, since I cannot prove a lover to entertain these fair well-spoken days, I am determined to prove a villain and hate the idle pleasure of these days. Plots have I laid. I stopped it there just for time.
I would I suggest that try to never you allowed your vision
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Stay with us. Because what you are doing is you're reaching for, are you hearing me? Do you get
right?
Am I making myself clear? This is where I am. This is who I am. This is
That's what I was wondering about. Like,
that's the
is,
power. That's the power, is saying, I'm looking you straight in the eye and saying,
yeah,
I know the dogs are barking at me, but they don't know me. This is who I am. This is what I'm doing. This is what I see. Can I be any clearer than this? Do you know what I mean? And it's
yeah,
powerful because when you're with us, we're riveted. When you look away, it becomes,
it breaks it.
yeah, and there's no need for it. I'm sorry, Chuck.
No,
Chuck,
I totally
Chuck
agree.
is-
But
is
you took the adjustments really, really well. But that's the whole thing of, you know, some of the stuff we've been talking about is that deciding who it is you're speaking to. You guys made the point very clearly initially when Kelly was working about this person you're talking to, and then this. And I think in this, it's very much about, like Jay's saying, to keep in and out. But, you know, if you were doing it, you'd have an opportunity to really work on that. You'd be directed that way. But what was interesting about that take was, without bludgeoning the hurt was coming out.
Oh,
With
yeah.
the clarity of what you were saying. And it's all about, Ishan, it's all about, and everyone listening, it's all about, people always ask questions about emotion, how emotional should I be? Those aren't questions you should ever ask yourself. It's all about rooting what you're saying in the other person, right? Or in the image that you're using. And the difference is the image of dogs, like Jay was saying, dogs bark, every single dog bark. When you root it in that, you don't have to worry about your emotional life. Just saying that, admitting that to someone that you specifically envisioned will get you where you need to go, because you're awake. You know what I mean? As an actor. So that's what I'd say to you, is just repersonalize all you're saying in that speech, because it's a good speech for you. You've got it nailed. Just really personalize it big time, you know?
Sure.
I think a major choice that will help you too is, who are you saying this to?
Yeah.
Is this to your little brother?
Yeah.
Is this to a dead brother?
It changes it, each different choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It changes it
Yeah.
completely. And for you, the joy is you can do it a couple of times to one character and then do it a couple of times to another. And what you will learn from doing it each time will be of value to you, because where it's richest, I mean, it's like if your little brother who idolizes you looks at you and goes, "Why did that dog bark at you? Why do dogs bark at you?" And you go, I don't know. They just do. I
was born with this. Yeah.
I don't know. Look
Well,
at this.
also,
It's innocent. It's
Yeah.
innocent and it's open and it's going, look, I'm fine.
But if you're playing with that, I mean, in fact, one of the, people in your head, it could be your mother. I mean, that's where it all stems from.
Explaining yourself, your actions.
Yeah, and even if she's not there, it's like that. It's to where it stemmed. You're born this way. I mean, that's partially her fault. You birthed me, this way, and it's
because it
complex.
makes and
then you didn't love me. You birthed me, and then you didn't love me.
It makes you so vulnerable in front of us.
Yeah,
because it's like, Mom, what are they doing? Why is that dog barking at me? Instead,
and then there's also like
it's like, why am I like this? I mean, okay, I'll deal with it. I'll go, but why is it? And it opens your heart and your soul to a place where we go, oh my God, I'm seeing the hurt, I'm seeing the need, I'm seeing and then it's that energy, that power that drives you forward. We were just having this conversation yesterday that in Hamlet, when the ghost appears to Hamlet, to me, having played the ghost and wrestled with that, I was so upset to see that the ghost is so often played as, oh, you have to endure, whereas when Paul Scofield played this in Mel Gibson's Hamlet on movie, Zeffirelli, but Mel Gibson was, he simply sat, and as a great actor will do, he simply sat and broke his heart. And he said, please let me rest. Please revenge me. It wasn't revenge me. It was please revenge. And Gibson turned like so shaken because it was so personal. that it drove him through the entire play. And you understood how he had to do this. And I think we need that sense of, right from the beginning, where is that vulnerability that is going to drive him through all these terrible things he does? Something deeply personal and hurt is
all right. We got to move on. I think what we need to do is get each person to have an hour with you. So we'll just give every one of our students your emails afterwards, and then
I'm with you.
But you're right.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely.
Thank you,
This is
Ishan.
what
Thank you, guys.
This is what they're signing up for. Ishan, great work, and I would suggest to you go back and read Henry VI, Part 3, Gloucester, Richard III's Gloucester speech explaining himself before you come back to this, because have that history in yourself. You know the speech. Go back, read it in Henry VI, Part 3, around Act 3 or something. All that. He explains his whole life and what he has to do to get to the crown. Read that, digest that, and come back to this speech. Really great work.
Thank you, guys.
Nice work. Dylan.
Hey, what's up?
Hey,
how's it going?
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm calling from Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. I work a lot in Portsmouth, New Hampshire with the Shakespeare Company, and they tell me it's a great day to be a Wildcat. So.
Wow. I went to University of New Hampshire. Yeah.
Yeah, I was housed at the dorms there the first show I did with them. So I'm familiar with it. Yeah.
Wonderful.
So I'm gonna be working on Macbeth, the To Be Thus speech.
Yes.
And yeah, I think we'll jump into it. To be thus is nothing, but to be safely thus. Our fears in Banquo stake deep, and in his royalty of nature reigns that which would be feared. 'Tis much he dares, and to the dauntless temper of his mind he hath a wisdom which doth guide his valor to act in safety. There's none but he, whose being I do fear, and under him my genius is rebuked, as it is said Mark Antony's was by Caesar. He chid the sisters when they first put the name of king upon me and bade them speak to him. Then, prophet-like, they hailed him father to a line of kings. Upon my head they placed a fruitless crown and put a barren scepter in my grip, thence to be wrenched with an unlineal hand, no son of mine succeeding. If be so, for Banquo's issue have I filled my mind. For them, the gracious Duncan have I murdered. Put bankers in the vessel of my peace, only for them, and mine eternal jewel given to the common enemy of man, to make them kings, the seeds of Banquo kings. So, come fate into the list and champion me to the utterance.
Great. You were ending there, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't want to interrupt. I'm sorry. Again, this is so funny. He's calling for help. How many times do we get that, right? I know this speech backwards and forwards. Your comparisons, not Banquo kings, tons of Banquo kings.
Got you.
Mine, his. He gets a line of kings, and to mine, nothing.
Right.
A barren scepter. It's everything is the comparison. I would go back, and you're obviously you know it well, and you're invested. I would suggest that you take it from the top again, and rather than emote it through, reason it through. Let the emotion drive your reason. I have to figure this out. Okay, so I'm here. Fuck, I'm here. To be thus is nothing. This is nothing. Why am I feeling nothing? I'm sitting on the throne. I'm doing that. I've got that. Why is it not? Okay, I'll tell you why it's nothing. I know why it's nothing. Because they said he's going to have everything. Why don't I get anything? I'm a baron. I get a baron. I get and he's going to be king, but I'm what would mine nothing, it's why is this? What you're trying to understand your way forward, not it's not about the grievances of they didn't give me anything. It's why did they say that to him? Why did they not give it? Why am I sitting here?
Right.
Where I've worked how hard, how long? I won 2 fucking wars. And then Duncan gives the crown to his son. And I've got it. And here I am. Why is this not enough? Why is this?
Right.
I would take it from there.
Yeah, definitely.
But again, let the passion, same passion you're feeling. It's great. It's beautiful. You're connected to it. Your work is wonderful. Drive forward your, what am I not getting here? What am I not getting here? Why isn't this working?
Right. Okay.
Try it from the top with that.
To be thus is nothing. But to be safely thus. Our fears in Banquo stick deep, and in his royalty of nature reigns that which would be feared. 'Tis much he dares, and to the dauntless temper of his mind he hath a wisdom which doth guide his valor to act in safety. There's none but he whose being I do fear, and under him my genius is rebuked, as it is said Mark Antony's was by Caesar. He chid the sisters when they first put the name of king upon me, and bade them speak to him. Then, prophet-like, they hailed him father to a line of kings. Upon my head they placed a fruitless crown, put a barren scepter in my gripe, thence to be wrenched with an unlineal hand. No son of mine succeeded. If be so, for Banquo's issue have I filled my mind. For them, the gracious Duncan, have I murdered, only for them, put rancors in the vessel of my peace, and mine eternal jewel given to the common enemy of man, to make them kings, the seeds of Banquo kings. Rather than so, come fate into the list, and champion me to the utterance.
Beautiful. Now, again, you're still letting the emotion drive. Okay. I'm alone. I have the throne. I have it. And I'm going, it's not enough. Why is it not enough? Okay, here it is. We come in close on you. You don't have anyone to declare it to. You have yourself to go, something's wrong. To be thus is nothing. But to be safely thus. And then you're talking about, my fears in Banquo stick deep. Be careful as you go through that you don't hit every I.
Okay.
He doesn't do that. He does in the rhythms you can find for Banquo's issue.
Right.
For Banquo's issue, have I done?
Interesting.
Not for Banquo's issue, have I done? We know it's I'm doing this, and my worry about that because everything's about. And I've done this. I've done this for them.
Dylan.
I've done this for them. He's murdered.
Right. Yeah.
Just to piggyback on what Jay is saying. Think of it. Decide who you're speaking to, and see your listener. Really see your listener. It's really important they understand how unfair this thing is. Do you know what I mean? So just visualize what we've always talked about. Is like when you feel it becoming about yourself, resource yourself in who the hell are you talking to? And how are they reacting to what you're saying? That's what keeps you talking. Remember that, right?
Right,
the speech isn't ready. The speech isn't done.
It's a scene.
the beginning and the end. Is their reaction that how much have they understood? How little have they understood? How much are they showing empathy towards you? Are they not showing empathy to you? Are they a bit confused with the argument? Do you need to make it see them really who you're talking to, and let that drive you continuing to speak? Okay, great.
Okay, got you.
The stiller you can be right with us at the camera, the better.
You got it.
Anything that you feel, breathe and let go into clarity rather than expression.
You got it.
Okay, I'm going to be absolutely fucking clear because I know every detail of this, and I'm going to make sure you understand every single thing, because I'm going to burst if I don't express it. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. To be thus is nothing, but to be safely thus. Our fears in Banquo stick deep, and in his royalty of nature reigns that which would be feared. 'Tis much he dares, and to that dauntless temper of his mind he hath a wisdom which doth guide his valor to act in safety. There's no other being but he who I do fear, and under him my genius is rebuked. As it is said, Mark Antony's was by Caesar. He chid the sisters when they first put the name of king upon me, and bade them speak to him. Then, prophet-like, they hailed him father to a line of kings. Upon my head they placed a fruitless crown, put a barren scepter in my gripe. Thence, to be wrenched with an unlineal hand, no son of mine succeeding. If be so, for Banquo's issue have I filled my mind. For them, the gracious Duncan, have I murdered, put rancors in the vessel of my peace, only for them, and mine eternal jewel, given to the common enemy of man to make them kings. The seeds of Banquo, kings. Rather than so, come, fate, into the list and champion me to the utterance.
Yeah. You feel that?
Yeah.
The only thing is, upon my head, they put a fruitless crown.
Right.
My head, fruitless. That's the comparison. Upon my head, they put a fruitless crown, put a barren scepter in my grave. Only to them kings, the seed of Banquo, kings. But I heard that so much more clearly. And when you said rancor, it was like you wanted to fucking explode. But no, I'm going to hold it together and just be clear. Right. Oh, it was so much more powerful.
It was beautiful, Dylan and Jay. What Jay and Maryann, they're really excellent at that. Is your internal life? Trust me, is you don't have to tell people your internal life. Do you know what I mean? If you're doing the job, and you know, Kristen, going back to what Kristen Linklater said, how the verse is your argument. Clearly speaking, the verse gives us all the argument we need. Correct. Your internal life in expressing and imagining what you're talking about takes care of itself. You know, everything you were trying to show us in your first couple of takes with we were seeing the anger, the fear, all that was reading. And I bet you felt like you weren't doing, but it was in the clarity of the idea. We could feel it. It made sense for us what you were feeling. And it comes back to that thing that let us, the audience, feel that stuff. You know, that saying I keep repeating, and I'll keep repeating every class. The audience doesn't want to see you cry. They want to cry for you. And that goes for all the emotions. We want to be angry for you. We want to be scared for you and all that stuff. You know, Maryann, did you have something to say?
Yeah, I would say that's what struck me, especially this last time through, is it's the humanness of it.
Yes.
And it's just, it's cutting away bit by bit any of the grandiosity of it, because these are huge emotions, and you see just the human behind it, which is full and complex and very Dripping.
You're
I'm very
alone.
grateful to see it.
You're alone.
Oh, thank you.
You're alone in a throne room with everything you've aspired to, and you're alone, and suddenly you're going, "Fuck,
Right.
it's not enough.
Yeah.
It's not enough."
Yeah.
And why am I still looking over my shoulder at Banquo? Because of what they said. They said that thing, and I don't know if that's true, and I don't, you know what I mean? But it's your racing mind going, I was finally given what I was begging for, and it's not the answer.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well done.
Beautiful
Really
job.
good.
You
Really,
Thank you guys
really
very much.
beautiful, Dylan. Great,
Appreciate
great adjustments. Okay, Aaron.
Hello.
Hey, how are you, Nate?
Good.
Good. Welcome.
So I'm also in Brooklyn right now.
Right.
There's a subway going by outside the window every now and then. Throughout
That's okay. It's real.
We'll think it's in our house, not yours.
Well, I today brought in a brand new piece for me. This is Barone from Love's Labor's Lost. This is Act 4, Scene 3, at the end of the scene. So this is after all the gentlemen have been discovered that they have actually fallen in love and been writing all this poetry. And now the king has challenged Barone to try to come up with a justification as to how they can get out of their stupid promises not to see women without looking like assholes, basically.
Great.
Consider what at first you did swear unto, to study, to fast, and to see no woman, flat treason against the kingly state of youth. We have made a vow to study, lords, and in that vow we have forsworn our books. For when would you, my liege, or you, in leaden contemplation have found out such fiery numbers as the prompting eyes of beauty's tutors have enriched you with? Other slow arts entirely keep the brain, and therefore, finding barren practicers scarce show a harvest for their heavy toil. But love, first learned in a lady's eyes, lives not alone immured in the brain, but with the motion of all elements, courses swift as thought through every power, and gives to every power a double power above their function and their offices. It adds a precious seeing to the eye. A lover's eyes will gaze the eagle blind. A lover's ear will hear the lowest sound. Love's feeling is more soft and sensible than are the tender horns of cockled snails. For valor is not love a Hercules, still climbing the trees of the Hesperides, and when love speaks, the voice of all the gods makes heaven drowsy with the harmony. Never durst poet touch a pen to write until his ink were tempered with love's sighs. Oh, then his lines would ravish savage ears and put in tyrants mild humility. From women's eyes, this doctrine I derive. They sparkle still the right Promethean fire. They are the books, the arts, the academs that show, contain, and nourish all the world, else none at all in aught proves excellent. Then fools you were, these women to forswear. Let us once lose our oaths to find ourselves, or else we lose ourselves to keep our oaths.
Lovely. Aaron, you're beautifully spoken. You have a great voice. You're very clear. The step forward is not technique. The step forward is in clarity of this speech.
Mm-hmm.
The very end of it, the final line was,
or else we lose ourselves to keep our oaths.
or else we lose ourselves to lose our speech, right?
Mm.
That's what the work that I would say you need to do is make absolutely clear the logic of this piece. You're very clearly capable of making that logic because you're being logical now. You don't know the speech as well as you will.
Yeah.
I'm very familiar with that step in the work on anything. But we need to hear, because of the nature of this and because of the nature of Love's Labor's Lost, which people go, what was that about again? We have to know absolutely what your logic is. I've never done this show. I've seen it a number of times, but I've not done it. So I don't have the advantage, like with Macbeth, of knowing it so well. But I was listening to you going, oh, what is that? What I'm trying to, do you know what I mean? I'm trying to follow. I desperately want to know what you're saying, and you're clearly capable of saying it clearly, but you still have work to do in helping me understand it that clearly.
Because it feels to me as though the journey or whatever within this speech is a young man who has gone from, he's on top of things, and the declaration of what women are truly, we don't need them with it, and then suddenly the realization that they are whatever the words are, that of how to keep our oath and lose ourselves, that it's that you can right. do all these practical things, but without this, you've lost your soul, you've lost your heart.
Well said. Oath, our oath ourselves is key. That you said, we promised this, and go, well, wait a minute, who am I really?
And it seems like it's a declaration it's so many of these are about discoveries. It's like I'm struck by each of these speeches it's discovering things, and this is a declaration of a discovery of this. I don't want to live without love. And I have one question. When you do it again, do you have a seat by your computer? Because I would love to see your face actually. Rather than
come up closer. Away. Come up closer so that we get the.
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah, this is great.
I would love to see that.
It will help focus in a different way. But you were comfortable with yourself. You weren't doing too much, but it's nice to be able to see your face. Yeah. But I think that exactly what Maryann is saying, it was because the thing I do know about Love's Labor's Lost is it's all about, we're never going to do this. Mm-hmm. That's not working out so well. Maybe I'm wrong. So who am I? What is a good idea? How do I get out of this and still how can I still be a man, a prince, a king, whatever I am?
Well, it's sort of like callow young men who mature. It seems like.
It's like a group version of Taming of the Shrew. A guy who comes forward and says, I know what it is. I know what I'm going to do. I know how to do it. And he runs into a brick wall with somebody who goes, get out of here. And he goes, oh, I better rethink that. But except that it's a group of people and a group of men and a group of women. Yeah.
And I think also, Aaron, this is one of those, this is tricky because the other ones we've done have sort of been soliloquies, like people, sharing with whether you want to use the audience or you're talking to your brain, whatever you want. But this is actually a guy making an argument to people. So you have to play that combination of a lot of this is prepared, but that doesn't mean that as you voice it out loud and you see the effect on the people, it doesn't affect you as if it were immediate also. So you've got to do, it's a deceptively tough speech to do. And these sort of speeches are very tough. I mean, it's similar to Her Father Loved Me, Oft Invited Me in Othello. You're making a speech, but at the same time, you have to be hit by the immediacy of saying it out loud to people, right? So just, that's a lot we're throwing at you, but find that combination, which you naturally do, of being charming, but also about, although this is something you've prepared, it hits you. And then Shakespeare gives you, just think about, just be aware every time you say love. Be aware every time you use things like but and yet, and little words like that completely change your direction in your thinking. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Give us a go.
All right. Consider what you first did swear unto, to fast, to study, and to see no woman, flat treason against the kingly state of youth. we have made a vow to study, lords. And in that vow, we have forsworn our books. For when would you, my liege, or you, in leaden contemplation have found out such fiery numbers as the prompting eyes of beauty's tutors have enriched you with? Other slow arts entirely keep the brain, and therefore, finding barren practicers, scarce show a harvest for their heavy toil. But love, first learned in a lady's eyes, lives not alone.
Sorry, mate, I'm going to stop you. Just think of how you said, but love. Look at this. You've had how many lines of saying, we've done this, we've been idiots, did this, and then you finally come to your point.
Yeah.
Not only, he didn't even start the line with love. He gave you something before that. He gave you a but. Love. Do you know what I mean? So it can't be but love is whatever. Do you know what I mean? You've made this whole point, and this is your point, mates. But love, embrace that. That's what I'm saying about it's performative, but it's also, you know what I mean? Use those little, when you have but and whatever, use that. And love, you finally said this thing. Do you know what I mean? So just start again, do what you were doing, but be in the moment when you come to the point of your thing. Is like, guys, this thing, love. You know what I mean? Does that make sense, the note?
Yeah.
Because you sort of ran it through. You said, but love, because you were still staying on your argument. But the immediacy of it is that you've come to the whole point. This thing, but love, monosyllabic words, you can't rush them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So really use that. Yeah.
You made clear, what I heard more clearly this time is, listen, we said we're gonna spend our time learning things, but our books are fucking us up. What's to be learned is right here. That you're setting up to say there's something else we need to be learning from. So when you hit, as Chuck says, but love is changing all of that, is changing what learning means, is changing everything that I've talked about. So let's listen to that as our teacher. Right? You go?
Yeah. Consider what you first did swear unto, to fast, to study, and to see no woman, flat treason against the kingly state of youth. We have made a vow to study, lords, and in that vow we have forsworn our books. For when would you, my liege, or you, in leaden contemplation, have found out such fiery numbers as the prompting eyes of beauty's tutors have enriched you with? Other slow arts entirely keep the brain, and therefore, finding barren practicers, scarce show a harvest for their heavy toil. But love, first learned in a lady's eyes, lives not alone immured in the brain, but with the motion of all elements courses as swift as thought in every power, and gives to every power a double power above their functions and their offices. It adds a precious seeing to the eye. A lover's gaze will see an eagle blind. A lover's ear will hear the lowest sound. Love's feeling is more soft and sensible than are the tender horns of cockled snails. For valor is not love a Hercules, still climbing trees in the Hesperides? And when love speaks, the voice of all the gods makes heaven drowsy with the harmony. Never durst poet touch a pen to write until his ink were tempered with love's sighs. Oh, then his lines would ravish savage ears and plant in tyrants mild humility. From women's eyes this doctrine I derive. They sparkle still the right Promethean fire. They are the books, the arts, the academs that show, contain, and nourish all the world. Else none at all in aught proves excellent. Then fools you were these women to forswear. Let us once lose our oaths to find ourselves, or else we lose ourselves to keep our oaths.
beautiful. May I jump in?
Yeah.
The turn, the summation, what you've learned after all this, then fools you were to do, because we were looking in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Right? And early on, then love, which learned in a woman's love, which learned in a woman's eye, not a book, not all those other places we were looking. Love, but love learned in a woman's eye, and then everything else spins out of it. And love teaches us this, and love gives us that, and love is that, and we are the best this, and we are the best that, and say, oh my God, it's in a woman's eye that all this was to be learned. So we've been fools. We've been looking in the wrong place. And that's how we're going to find ourselves. That's what I heard from you clearly. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful jump forward.
What just occurred to me listening this last time was at that point when you start speaking about, but women are the, I don't know the speech well enough to have the words, but you start describing, it's in the latter part, women are this, and women are the books, women are the whatever, because it's about intellect and then the heart or the soul. And though it is a prepared speech presented, I just thought, in working on it in the future too, what would happen if around that part, because you know what you're going to say, you're going, yes, but now we think, it's like Hercules and this and that, this is my prepared speech. I think we should be able to be with women, that something takes over you, that maybe there's a rush of, that is just out of you there. Women are this, whatever the speech is, if there is at least a part in there that it's that's the emotion takes over of what you're feeling, and ending with the lose our soul. But that
you're actually learning more from
that you
yourself.
learned that the speech, you know what you're going to present. You're going to say, here's my argument, and then something takes over, which I think could be very interesting to experiment with, to see where that goes.
So it's like maybe approaching it where it's like, I kind of know the framework, but I don't know what I'm actually going to say specifically.
Get to a certain point,
what was
at
gorgeous.
a certain point, you put down the paper and you go, because that's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all about, love is this and love is that. God, I realize that. That's why we've lost ourselves, that the passion underneath the points that you've made overtake you to saying, this is really it, guys. Even as I'm hearing myself, I'm understanding it even more than I thought I understood.
Yeah. That's what's the Aaron, for you is going to be that marrying of two, of the fact that it's prepared and knowing when I was saying, go off book, like Jay and Maryann were saying, and then bring it back. But what was really interesting is when you gave the but love, that sparked your imagination, and the way you attacked the next few lines was absolutely beautiful and original. And that's all with breathing into that, but love, this is where it starts, So keep that imagination active. But that's a great, great character for you, actually, mate. So stick with that one, and stuff.
Great work on that.
Play I'd never worked with at all.
All right.
It's completely new.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you for opening that up to us.
And I don't normally like that play of Barone, to be honest with you, but you were brilliant in that.
Years ago at the RSC, I was touring in England with a show out of the Royal Court, and I saw in the same season that Anthony Sher did his great Richard III, and Ken Branagh did his Henry V.
Mm-hmm.
The only show that we could make it to because of our schedule was Love's Labour's Lost, and we saw Roger Rees and Ken Branagh play those two and they blew it open, and it was quite a thing. But thank you for that. Thank you for your wonderful work.
Yeah, I might have to revisit that, thanks to you. Anna.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. How about you? Thanks so much for all of this. It's just, it's beautiful. It's such a gift.
You guys make it really special. Over to you, Jay.
Oh, so I'm Anna, and I'm actually based in Dublin, Ireland. So yeah. but I spent 10 years in New York. And so I'm gonna do Hermione from The Winter's Tale in Act 3, Scene 2. So I've never played this role, and I haven't but I used to work on it. All right, so I haven't picked it up in like 6 years, like 5 or 6 years. So it's one of those that I keep coming back to, keep coming back to, keep coming back to.
Those are always rich because they keep getting informed by life, right?
Yeah. And life, you live a little bit more life, and you're
That's wonderful. Good.
All right. So, are you familiar with the play?
Yes.
I figured as much, but I just thought
neither of us has done it.
I played
I'm sorry.
Perdita.
She played Perdita. That's right.
Oh, lovely.
Many years ago.
I did the final speech at a for the Shakespeare Society here for the woman who had been the chairperson of their thing when she died.
Oh, wow.
And it was her favorite.
Oh, beautiful.
All about the statue coming back to life, and beautiful.
Yeah, gorgeous. Yeah, it's funny. My husband actually did. He did one from Leontes yesterday, actually, and so he did it brand new, and I was like, oh yes, I will return to Hermione. So, all right. Gosh, it's so funny how nervous one can be, but I'm so glad you guys are like, we're working, we're having fun. So
no judgment. You're reintroducing us to something beautiful. You know, all of these speeches.
It's not a performance. It's just
lovely. Thank you. Sir, spare your threats. The bug which you would fright me with, I seek. To me can life be no commodity. The crown and comfort of my life, your favor I do give lost, for I do feel it gone. But know not where it went, my second joy and first fruits of my body. From his presence, I'm barred like one infectious, my third comfort starred most unluckily is from my breast, the innocent milk in its most innocent mouth, haled out to murder, myself on every post proclaimed strumpet, with immodest hatred the childbed privilege denied, which longs to women of all fashion lastly hurried here to this place in the open air before I have got strength of limit. Now, my liege, tell me what blessings I have here alive that I should fear to die. Therefore proceed. But yet hear this. Mistake me not. No, life, I prize it not a straw, but for mine honor, which I would free, if I shall be condemned upon surmises, all proof sleeping else, but what your jealousies awake, I tell you, 'tis rigor and not law. Your honors all, I do refer me to the oracle. Apollo be my judge.
Good.
Beautiful work.
You know, it occurred to me that I would love to see, because it's so clear and the emotion is so present, but the situation of this woman who loves her husband, who has a newborn child that's been taken from her, who has another child, you know, a young child who is going, you can't touch him anymore because you're unclean, whatever. And the disbelief of being put on trial in front of that, the emotion, which was so clear and very moving, but as an experiment and as a play of to just that when someone who you trusted more than anyone in the world turns and says this to you, that rather than the, no, but if just as an experiment, what would it be like if the ice that's within your happens of you are there to present, and that within it, there is a part, there is a place in there where towards the end, where the emotion does affect you, but just as I would love to, because you're so clear, and I just think it would be of what happens to a woman to whom this happens, and is put into the situation, a woman of goodness, and of I'm not going to give you my tears. I'm not going to give this to you. And it's not even a trick. It's just your baby, your breasts are still giving milk.
Huge. Yeah, absolutely. Hurting. Yeah.
And normally, and at this point is when I ask people often whether they have the script in front of them, but it was very clear for me as you were doing that, you're very aware of all your line endings. And part of, I think this does attach to what Maryann is saying, is find that cold queen. She is of royal blood. And she's being brought into this place to defend herself by these people, many of which just shouldn't even be in the same room with her, okay? And really use those line endings, which break her thoughts up in really weird places. Really embrace them. Really embrace the weird places where she comes to an end of a line, but and see what that does to you. Have that, you want to say more, but really stick to those, just for an experiment also, really stick to those lines, even though you want to say more with a thought, really come to a hit, at the end of them, and see what that does for you, okay? Great.
Cool. Lovely, thank you. Sir, spare your threats. The bug which you would fright me with, I seek. To me can life be no commodity. The crown and comfort of my life, your favor I do give lost. For I do feel it gone, but know not how it went. My second joy and first fruits of my body, from his presence, I'm barred like one infectious. My third comfort, starred most unluckily, is from my breast the innocent milk in its most innocent mouth, haled out to murder myself on every post, proclaimed a strumpet with immodest hatred, the childbed privilege denied, which longs to women of all fashion, lastly hurried here to this place in the open air before I have got strength of limit. Now, my liege, tell me what blessings I have here alive, that I should fear to die. Therefore, proceed. Mistake me not. No. Life, I prize it not a straw, but for mine honor, which I would free. If I shall be condemned upon surmises, all proof sleeping else, but what your jealousies awake, I tell you, 'tis rigor and not law, your honors. All. I do refer me to the oracle. Apollo be my judge.
Good. I love the strength of it. It's really a wonderful, different approach. And I found that the strength, it made me cry. Watching it. It was just, you know, the thought of a woman who everything is taken from her, and above all, her children and her honor, children and honor, and yet the strength and dignity that she maintains. That made me cry. So
I have a suggestion for you to try, if you would not mind this.
Of course.
Come closer to the camera, as though you are face to face with him. He said that, and less emotion still. Hold it back. It will be there. You are invested already. It will be there. So that rather than speaking, it's, okay, you want to know where I stand? You want to know who I am? You want to know what's going on in me? You've accused me. You've broken my life. I'm not going to tell you anything. You know what I'm saying? So that it's full, rich, and breathe through it.
And then it doesn't need,
you don't need as much pulling it, quite as much pulling apart.
Anger either.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't. That's what I was going to say. The anger and the ridiculousness of the situation and her fatigue and her disbelief is all in the verse structure. You don't have to add that on top.
Yeah.
Adhere to those lines and use them. Remember, don't come to the end. At the end, use them to lead.
Launch,
you know all these rules. I can tell from it. Use them to lead to them, but just free it up a bit. I'm just saying, it's enough structuring your argument the way you are, like Jay and Maryann are saying, without having to add the other stuff into it. And don't forget that when you get to therefore proceed, that's the end. You're like, okay, go ahead. But then something makes her keep speaking. And her tone is completely different. She's gone from mother to friggin' queen. After that, she goes, but hear you this. Let me just make this fucking clear to you. Yeah? That's what's happening there. Because she says, but proceed. And then he's like, you know what? I'm not done. So use that. So trust the verse. And like they're saying, you don't have to add more onto it. And we will hear you and we will cry for you. You don't have to do it for us. Okay? Great.
Come closer that way.
Yeah, no,
and think of it, in close up, in effect.
No.
In other words, it doesn't have to be quite so close. It's but split the difference. Split the difference. So there you are, but you are speaking and not having to raise your voice. Let me make this as clear as I possibly can.
And take a breath before you go into it. Just hold still.
Yeah.
And again, don't let the anger overtake you.
We get all the emotion. You don't have to express anything. It will be there.
Sir, spare your threats. The bug which you would fight me with, I seek. To me can life be no commodity. The crown and comfort of my life, your favor, I do give lost, for I do feel it gone, but know not how it went, my second joy. And first fruits of my body, from his presence, I'm barred like one infectious. My third comfort, starred most unluckily, is from my breast, the innocent milk in its most innocent mouth. Haled out to murder, myself on every post, proclaimed strumpet, with immodest hatred, the childbed privilege denied which longs to women of all fashion lastly hurried, here to this place in the open air before I have got strength of limit. Now, my liege, tell me what blessings I have here alive, that I should fear to die, therefore proceed. But yet, hear this. Mistake me not, no, life. I prize it not a straw, but for mine honor, which I would free. If I shall be condemned upon surmises, I'll prove sleeping else. But what your jealousies awake, I tell you, 'tis rigor and not law. Your honors all. I do refer me to the oracle. Apollo be my judge.
Wow. Wow, beautiful. That was so full of emotion. Did you feel that? Because it's boiling in you and you're going, I'm tell you, buddy, right?
Now, I do have one question, just in terms, because I don't have it before me.
Yeah, I kind of wrecked the lines there.
About fear, death, therefore proceed.
Yeah.
It felt like it was
Gotta
all the
finish.
same line. He was
Yeah.
at fear, death, therefore proceed. And I thought, is that written that?
The line is that I should fear to die, therefore proceed. It's all one. I mean, there in this version, in the Arden version, they do put a full stop.
Yeah.
But it is one line of text.
I would say what Chuck was saying before, that I would fear to die.
Therefore proceed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that breath there is like, because
Yeah.
it's like,
And also,
all of this, I'm not for all of this, I would stake my life.
And don't forget that what would help you do it is that it's actually a question that starts with, now, my liege, tell me what blessings I have here alive that I should fear to die. It's a question.
Right.
Therefore, proceed. So it's about keeping the thoughts, even though you're not running the lines, keep it. Therefore, my Lord, tell me what that I should fear to. The thing with structure, you did that beautifully. I mean, and it was affecting you, and your eyes, without forcing tears, your eyes were tearing up despite yourself.
Gorgeous.
You know, it was gorgeous. But the big note I'll put about that, and I think Jay and Maryann will agree with me on this, is that using those line endings doesn't mean you bring your thought to a stop.
Yeah.
Using those line endings allow you to make your thought really clear. And it also takes care of all these questions we ask. Okay, what word should I stress? When should I stress that? Should I do this? It takes care of you, because if you started like that, take that line, I have got strength to limit. Now, my liege, tell me if you take that breath, if you ran the line, you might go, now, my liege, tell me what, now, my liege, tell me what. But if you go, now, my liege, motherfucker, tell me what I should be scared about. Do you see what I'm saying? Use those line endings constructively. Forgive my French, but it helps. And it's not just there as an ending. I don't know if Maryann and Jay want to say something quickly before we move on, but I really believe in them, you know?
No, absolutely. Because I think also I tell you, 'tis rigor and not law, that because sometimes I mess it up and I kind of put it all together. But when I do that,
it clicks, it launches you to the thought, and it's clearer for us, you know.
Yeah.
I thought it was beautiful. I thought you should trust the fact that you saw everything in your face,
in your stillness,
and without your reaching at all to express it. For us to get it is wonderfully powerful. It's just magnetic, you know. You're there vibrating with that, and it's coming through that incredible language that you're given.
And so much of what we feel with people is what we imagine they're feeling. A lot of times actors are just like a sort of like tapestry. You fill in all the threads as the audience, you know. It's quite incredible that you often fill it in a lot better than we can if we try to do it ourselves.
Absolutely.
Anyway, thank you, Anna. That was
beautiful. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Susan.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm very pleased and happy to be here. Beautiful job, everybody. I am not doing Shakespeare today. I'm doing a contemporary monologue from a play called Summer Tree. My character's name is Mother. The lights come up and she's sitting on a stage, and it's a direct address to the audience. And it's an anti-Vietnam War, so it was also made into a film, neither of which I've seen. I'm working on this. I've never done it, but I've been working on it. So, and I'm in Manhattan.
Okay.
Thank you. So are we.
Okay. Okay. You know, when it comes, you think it's going to be a terrible surprise, that you'll rip it up or wad it into a ball or scream or go insane, or at least cry. But you don't. You know it's happened before you even see the telegram. Something in your mind heard the clicking of the teletype machine addressing you as dear Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, and adding its deep felt regrets before you even see the paper. I remember I went into the backyard. I sat down in the grass under the tree. It's been years since I sat in the grass, and I thought back to when we had this Irish setter, Ginger. Her real name was Gingerella of Briarwood, the only royalty I've ever met. It seems strange to be thinking about an old dog at a time like that, but that's what I was thinking about. I remember I used to sit in a chair and pretend to cry because it would upset Ginger. And she would run over and jump on my lap, and she was a very big dog. And I'd push her down and I'd start to laugh to show her I was only kidding. One day Ginger got sick and I took her to the vet. And he said she needed to stay overnight and I could lead her upstairs to where they kept the other animals in cages. Well, I tried to get her up the stairs, and all my pushing and pulling probably hurt her more. And when we got to the top of the stairs, all the other animals started barking and whining, and Ginger was afraid. She started to cry. She tried to run away, but she was so sick. She could hardly move. And I led her into an open cage, and I closed the door, and I ran down the stairs. I was so grateful to be out there. I never saw her again. She died. And I guess they tossed her body in the incinerator. I never cried for Ginger until that day in the backyard. And I don't really know if I was crying for Ginger or my son.
Beautiful, beautiful, Susan.
Thanks.
That my first thought on a really technical note: allow yourself more strongly your parentheticals. When you talk about Gingerella for the first time, it seems it can seem like one of the things that strengthens you in this is that we hear your mind going these places. I'm setting out to tell you this story, and I've thought of my dog Gingerella. She was that. I don't even know where she got that name, or it's a fun. Anyway, that's so. I'm. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We hear. It's just a way of adding texture to that. You get distracted by your memories. And we hear that, and what we're really going is, I hear all of that, but I want to know where you're going with it, because it keeps drawing us in and drawing us in. That said, we're already drawn in. I thought you did a beautiful job, and I went on that journey with you, but it allows us more the distraction of, how do I say this? Because what you're really saying is, I cried for my dog. And I don't know that it was from my dog. That's what the whole thing is leading up to. So all the distractions of getting there are also the ways of you going, I want to tell you this. I don't really know how to say this. I had this dog. It's Gingerella. It was a silly name. We had the, it was really beautiful. And I love that. And it's a German, Irish setter. Do you know what I mean? So that we just hear your mind going back and forth as you move inexorably forward towards this very painful thing. And the more matter of fact of those things on the way, the more we're with you going, yeah, that's how my mind works too, trying to remember things. And we go there with you. Anyway,
what strikes me though, it's a beautiful speech. And it's clear that, what it's about is, the remembering Ginger, it's so you're not thinking about what news you just received. And it even strikes me that by the end, when you go, and I had never cried for Ginger before that day, to me, the final thing, I didn't know whether it was for her or for my son. To me, that was superfluous. To me, the devastation of it was, that was the first, because we know you're talking about your son throughout the whole speech. And that final little tag seemed superfluous to me, of the power of it that punched me was, I hadn't cried for Ginger before. And it's the unthinkable loss of a child, and that you, as with in Winter's Tale, of saying, I'm not going to scream, and you say tear the paper. What is the protocol when you get this? You slam the door in their face, or you rip it up, or put it into a ball and throw it, or you run into the woods, and you just went into your backyard, and you remembered your dog and the loss of your dog, and you
remembered not having sat in the grass for a long time. And all those thoughts and feelings, they're very tactile, very specific, which you're very specific with, but each one is going like, oh yeah, and I haven't been there for a long.
But each one, it's not really about, it's that each one is really about not thinking about the loss of your son. And that and the whole thing is about the loss of your son. The helping, you help the dog up the stairs, the door closed, the crying, there was nothing you can do. You never saw the dog alive again. Every one of those statements is about your son, but it's done from a safe distance. And I would love to hear it again could you do it without the last line of, I don't know whether it was for my son or Ginger? Could you do that again, just to?
It's almost there. Those beautiful stories that are told like this, where you see the military people coming to the door, and they know what it is, and everything is about. Wait. Let me just get you some tea and cookies. Sit down, make yourself comfortable, and everything's about putting off what the moment you see them, that we know the moment we see it. So it's all about allowing life, allowing the celebration of being alive, and welcoming you, and everything else except you're going to hit me, let me just get settled.
But the last line of the scene of your speech is about Ginger. So it's not about, I don't know if it's for my son or just don't think that there's another line. Just make that the last line of the speech.
I never saw Ginger again. She died, and I guess they did it. And I guess they tossed her in the incinerator and ended there.
No.
So the next line is, and I don't know if I was crying for Ginger or my son.
Don't you say, I had never cried for Ginger before?
Until that day in the, okay. Yeah. Okay.
That's the last line.
To end on that, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. When it comes, you think it's going to be a terrible surprise, that you'll rip it up or wad it into a ball or scream or go insane or at least cry. But you don't. You know it's happened before you even see the telegram. Something in your mind heard the clicking of the teletype machine addressing you as dear Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, and adding its deep felt regrets before you even see the telegram. I remember I went into the backyard and I sat down in the grass by the tree. It's years since I sat in the grass. And I thought back to when we had this Irish setter, Ginger. Her real name was Gingerella of Briarwood, the only royalty I've ever met. Seems strange to be thinking about an old dog at a time like that, but that's what I was thinking about. I remember I used to pretend I was crying because it would upset Ginger, and she'd run over and jump up on my lap, and she was a very big dog, and I'd push her down and start to laugh to show her I was only teasing. One day Ginger got sick, and I took her to the vet, and he said she needed to stay overnight and I could bring her upstairs to where they kept the other animals in cages. Well, I tried to get her up the stairs, and all my pushing and pulling probably hurt her more. And when we got to the top of the stairs, all the other animals started barking and whining, and Ginger was scared. She started to cry. She wanted to run away, but she was so sick she could hardly move. I led her into an open cage. I closed the door, and I ran down the stairs. I was so grateful to be out of there. I never saw Ginger again. She died. And I guess they tossed her in the incinerator. I never cried for Ginger until that day in the backyard.
How beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was stunning.
God.
And I mean, I don't want to even over analyze the brilliance of that, but what got me, guys, all and everyone watching, is the payoff when I remember seeing, I can't remember about C.S. Lewis, Tony Hopkins in this movie with Deborah.
Oh.
Shadowland.
And I remember the whole movie, you're waiting, and this is what you did brilliantly, Susan. The whole movie, you're waiting for him to break. And I'm there going, come on, you've lost her, you love her, break. And he doesn't, he's telling the story, he's deflecting his whatever. And then at the very end, he's sitting in the attic with the little boy, and the boy just goes, I miss her. And Hopkins just, that was all we got the whole movie. And I remember it to this day. And it really does pay off, guys. There's so much emotional stuff we love to feel good about, but watching someone hold it in destroys you. You know what I mean? So that was stunning.
And that's why the parent embracing the parentheticals, which is the side thoughts,
throwing away,
run down the back stairs and the memory and everything. We're like, it's there, it's coming, it's at the front door. All of those feelings are there. But we're feeling it with you. We're feeling you running away from it. Just matter of fact, you did.
And we're doing it for you. We're doing all the crying for you, Susan. That was absolutely excellent. I don't know why I don't know you as an actor yet. That was quite lovely. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. I really appreciate it.
Really brilliant. Okay, Edward.
Hi.
Hey.
Am I good? Hi.
Yeah, you're
Hello.
good.
How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm out here in sunny Los Angeles, so 3 hours before you guys. So yeah. So I have a contemporary monologue too. I was watching all these Shakespeare monologues, and I was like, oh God, I gotta dust off a Shakespeare monologue. But, I have one here, and yeah, it's from a pretty small play about these people just experiencing life in cars. So it's all these vignettes in cars, and this particular one is where this guy named Henry decides to explain his feelings for his little lady. So I'll just go ahead and do this, and we'll go ahead and
Great. Are you standing or sitting?
I will be standing. Do I need to be a little closer?
No, if you're in a car.
Oh, you're right.
Sit.
All right, let's go ahead and do that.
Because there's something about what we all know about sitting in a car and straight ahead and talk and connecting with yourself, that you don't want to lose that.
Yes. Let me go ahead and remove my library from my desk and bring you down. Okay.
Great, Edward.
You know, normally, I'm pretty witty. My friends, they think I'm funny. But when I'm with you, my tongue gets just shipwrecked on my teeth. And I have to say, it's not entirely pleasant being so completely and uncontrollably smitten by you. There's quite a bit of pain involved, just a lot of pain that I can't really do much about. But Lisa, you touch something so deep inside of me. I felt it the instant we met because I had to leave the room. The way that you talk, your voice, your language, these phrases that you come up with, loaded for bear, boarding house reach. When you reached across me in the conference room for pizza, boarding house reach. I like that. How you talk, your eyes, your handwriting, physically, I find you incredibly sexy. But hey, but that's the least of it, of the reasons why it's at the bottom of the totem pole. I love watching you. I do. I love watching you watch things. I mean, I could watch you watching things forever. And your sense of, okay, yeah, I know, I'm babbling and I'm not likely making much sense. So if I could just at least try to express, no one has ever made me feel the way that you do. And I know that is my problem. I'm not dumping all of this on you. This is something that I will deal with. But I am in love with you. Whew. Yeah, we should go. Yeah.
Beautiful. I loved it.
Lisa, love him.
Lisa, love him. I know. It's very compelling.
Oh,
But now you have to tell us the situation because we don't know this piece.
And what is the?
Are you talking to someone on a phone? Are you talking to them next to you?
He said he's.
Yeah.
Are they in the car with you? Is Lisa?
Yeah, they're in the car with me. So these are all vignettes.
Saying this, practicing to say to Lisa, or you could be saying it on a phone to Lisa. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. One makes it it shades it in a different way. And any of those ways would work. But there's a funny thing that we all recognize that for us as parents, when you get in a car with your kid and say he's a teenager, for example, which we've gone through, and you're both facing forward and you go for a long drive and things come out, you're just sitting there doing nothing, turn off the music or something, and suddenly he starts opening up and talking about these things that would be much harder, maybe impossible to say straight to you. And suddenly he's freed because he's looking straight ahead and you're just kind of going. It's this magical place. When he was a baby, we do that to help him go to sleep. But there's something that every one of us that is human knows about being in a car. So it's really important to us that we know which specific situation it is. Are you talking? Are you rehearsing it? Is she next to you? Is she on a phone? Is she what? But however it is, that was beautiful work and I was very taken by it.
What is the play exactly? What is it?
Yeah, so this is a play called Marcus is Walking by Joan Ackerman. I think it was early 2000s, maybe the 90s. But the scenes, they don't offer too much context. It's very short. And he's just in a car. I believe they had just slept together. And she didn't enjoy it. She didn't find it romantic that they were in a car. And he did.
Did they sleep together in a car?
They had sex in the car.
They had sex.
I'm sorry?
They had sex in the car too?
Yeah, yeah. But so he did, and he's trying to, do the math in front of her, like why do I feel this way? You don't. And it just kind of like comes out of him.
Are they sitting together in the back seat?
I believe so.
I didn't know. Again, this is so funny that, you know, car theater. There are certain things. When you're the driver is different than when you're in the, when you're sitting next to the driver, or if you're in the back seat, or if both of you, there are all those specifics that just give that bit of color to us. This is just observation of the questions that I would ask if I were say, well, how are we going to stage this? How are we going to put it up? But I have to say, I found your relaxation and your moment-to-moment discovery and your openness were all infectious and beautifully done. So I would,
Edward,
say,
yeah,
I'm going to leap in on that, and I agree with all of what they said. I would love, again, it's what we were saying earlier with Ishan and stuff. This is a good piece for you. You're comfortable with it. We love watching you do it. If you were auditioning for Jay or Maryann, they go, okay, that guy has a great sense of. But I would, just for your own enjoyment and the fact that you should probably keep working on this piece, can you just do it where just creating your circumstances that you have about a third less time to get this all said, and that actually you've come to a real long traffic stop and she could get out of the door any moment now. And it's what I call the Gene Wilder effect in comedy, is that there is a ticking time bomb inside you that's about to go off. That's one thing Gene Wilder always had in his comedy. No matter what he was doing, you felt there was something that could drive him. Just add a bit more, maybe a little, just to push you a bit harder, a little bit of desperation to the need to get this out before she gets out of the car or something, you know. Imagine that imagine that the sex was, even the sex was that bad. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Instead of like, you don't get why she thinks you did. Right now, it's sort of in that world where you didn't think it was that bad. Maybe it could have been better, but actually know that it was that bad. She has every right to get out of the car if she wants, just to give yourself another thing to work on. You know what I mean? With this, But B is a real challenge, because you need, as Jay said about how specific your moment to moment was, be as specific to your moment to moment. It's just happening on speed. Do you know what I mean? Okay. Yeah.
And to add to that, because your final line is, okay, I guess we should go, or something like that. That, because you've done, especially going with what Chuck suggested, of that you're trying to get it all out before she can interrupt or whatever, and that's maybe the one spot where you leave a breath that she could come and go, I love you too, but she leaves the breath and there's nothing like that added. I'm like, okay. You know, just a tiny little, okay, you jump in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah. You can answer me later, right?
Okay. Yeah, I'll try it. Hey, normally I'm pretty witty, and my friends, they think I'm funny. But when I'm with you, I just, my tongue gets kind of shipwrecked on my teeth. And I have to say, it's not entirely pleasant being so completely and uncontrollably smitten by you.
Can I throw one thing in? You're playing Edward right now. You're playing already defeated and that she should leave you. It's the opposite. You're trying to be the most confident you can be, but you're not. Do you know what I mean? Right now, you're playing the loser already.
Sure. Okay.
You're trying to put forward that you are Casanova in bed. It's the opposite. We're hearing he's a loser right now, but that can't be what you're playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're trying to do the opposite on her. Okay, great.
Okay. Normally I'm pretty witty and my friends, they think I'm funny. When I'm with you, I just, my tongue gets shipwrecked on my teeth, and I have to say it's not entirely pleasant being so completely uncontrollably smitten by you. I have to say there's quite a bit of pain involved, just a lot of pain that I can't really do much about. But Lisa, you touch something so deep inside of me. I felt it the instant we met, because I had to run out of the way that you talk, these phrases that you come up with, loaded for bear. boarding house reach when you reached across me in the conference room for pizza. Boarding house reach. I love that. It's just how you talk, your eyes, your handwriting. Physically, I find you incredibly sexy. I mean, but that's the least of the reasons. At the bottom of the totem pole there, I love watching you. I do. I love watching you watch things and just okay. Your sense. I'm not making sense, but I'm babbling, but I know I'm not really making much sense. But if I could just at least try to express that no one has ever made me feel the way that you do, and that's my problem, not your problem. I'm the one who's going to deal with it. But you know what, Lisa? I am in love with you. Okay, we should go.
Oh,
beautiful.
Yeah. That was so. I really think that's the key to it. Don't be the loop. You know, it's painful to watch you try to be cool as you say the ridiculous things you say. I don't know, Jay, Maryann,
you're sliding backwards down the hill as you're going. All the way up there. I don't have a problem, and we hurt because we all know that place. But what's great too is that you keep it alive. Everything that you're doing, you're very there in every moment. We don't feel like you're doing a speech. We feel like you're talking to somebody, and that's.
And this is something I'm just going to ask because you guys are more skilled. You know, you've done more comedy. You know, Jay with your bottom and Maryann with your dry sort of delivery. It's hilarious, but.
What I've done.
What always takes me out of comedy is when someone who's clearly already funny, there's moments where they then comment on how funny they've been, and that sort of is the magic trick dropped in front of me, you know? And part of what I'm saying, you know, is that the minute that, because you're so funny when you're just speaking it and that your connection and all that, the moment you became aware of you being uncomfortable and did things like, I didn't, you know, that would take me out of it. But the more confidence you were with it and said the most ridiculous things, the more hilarious it is, you know, in comedy, I think, you know?
Yeah, you're brave, exactly, your sense of, I've got this, I've got this. And the very fact that when somebody says, I've got this,
they have it.
Sliding, right? I got this. So this is just.
And you know, because he's true also.
Yes.
Because someone who's trying to pretend he's, you know, I'm smooth, I'm pretty witty, my friends say, and whatever, and I'm tongue-tied with you, all that. But, you know, I really like the fine line is between someone who's just trying to get something out, like, you know, you're really pretty gorgeous. You know, I saw you before, and someone who actually is achingly truthful about these things, so that maybe trying to be, and by the end of I love you, I think you can afford, even in something that's this funny, because it's also heart-wrenching in terms of, it's like way back with two gentlemen from Verona, was it?
Verona, yes.
Of just the anguish of unrequited love. And for someone to, it's not even just, oh, you're pretty dress, or you're pretty, or you're charming, oh yeah, what you say this, you blurt out, there's nothing, you go, I love you, and there's no response. So that it should cut us a little bit too, after we've been laughing and enjoying, and then the breath of, great, okay, let's go. It's funny, also recognizable. So
we feel ourselves going, answer him.
Yeah. And that's what we want to do, is that I've always thought that with the funniest people I know, they on a dime can make me cry if they chose to. And on a dime, because you open so much to their joke, and then when they're completely sincere, it destroys. Robin Williams, I always think of that, when Robin Williams would suddenly be sad after you've watched 90 minutes of him being a goof, would destroy you, you know? So, you know, but that was lovely work, Edward. And we're at an end, and you guys have broken the record for the longest session. And I love it. Can we unmute everyone to congratulate everyone? These guys, thank you so much. So I'll just let people show their love.
All of you.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, all of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Every one of you, really.
Who's this little one?
We got-
Hi.
Yeah.
Evie.
That was beautiful. We
Wonderful, Edward.
Thank you.
blessed with a wonderful group of people. You guys are all, each and every one of you, talented,
Really?
clear, well-spoken.
We were honored
full.
to see you. Thank you so much.
It's great. There's
for
a
sharing with
theater
us.
company in the makings right
Yeah,
there.
right
Isn't that exciting? You know.
Thank you so much,
So
Jay.
I'd love to see what all of you would do in all sorts of different roles. So keep going.
Jay, Maryann, I knew when I invited you, you would bring something special, nurturing, kind, and useful in your masterclasses. And this has been really wonderful. Thank you for your generosity. You're still one of my favorite people, and you always will be. And we will do that dinner soon when this is all over. And in the meantime, thank you for joining us again in Bounded in a Nutshell.